Hello friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers, and I'm already bumping the camera. We're off to a fantastic start. Today, taking a look at not Transformers, but rather the not necessarily new line of toys, but one that I was fairly recently introduced to called Tobots. It's actually based on a Korean computer graphics cartoon thing. I know nothing about the show, except it involves kids and transforming robot vehicle things, and the toys are really cool. So today we're taking a look specifically at Tobot Deltatron, which is the first of a grand total of 3 Tobot combiners that I've gotten my hands on, and these things are fantastic. They're also quite big, which is why the backdrop's a little bit different this time. So, apologies for the slight change there, but didn't really have a choice. Anyway, here we have the 3 vehicles plus trailer that make up Deltatron. And you get this trailer business out of the way first. So, the trailer is probably the only thing I don't really like about this, because there's really nothing to do with the trailer once he's in his combine mode. But, guess what the trailer's for? I wonder what those will be. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad amount of detail on it. It's got like some little vents there, some nicely molded wheels, a little bit of detail around the outside, and also Tobot trailer, just in case you were confused as to what it belongs to, and then the big old logo on the front there. So yeah, I'm going to put this off to the side because we're not going to need it for now. But it is, it's a thing. So I'm not entirely sure what the official names of these different vehicles are, and I don't really care. Each one is actually based on a real-life Kia vehicle, and I don't know the names of those either. But you can actually see they all have little Kia logos, and they are actually licensed on actual cars. So that's cool. Now, what's interesting about the Tobot combiners is, unlike other combiner toys that are fairly common, you don't have vehicles that turn into robots that then combine to make one big robot. They actually are, like, you can get the individual toys that are the vehicles that turn into robots, but the combiners are vehicles that just turn into combined parts for a bigger robot. And in one sense, that's kind of a shame, because you don't get that added, play value, because you can't turn these into individual robots. But I think it actually ends up working to the toy's benefit, because it lets them do some interesting things and not have to sacrifice the combined mode for the sake of having individual robots. So I think that works out really well. Now, I'm going to start with the red one here. Again, not sure what it's called, not sure what the actual vehicle is called, but it's this nice little sedan-looking thing. And it is very cute, very nice. And I'm not sure, but you might even be able to see me in the reflection in the back there. Oh, yep, there I am. Hello. And yeah, it's a cute, squat little vehicle, but I like the detail that they put in on here. I mean, always a fan of the painted rims, which they have here. They also painted in the door handles. You got the painted logo on the back, the painted grille in the front. It's just some nice detail on here. And I also really like what they do. This is something I've noticed with all of the Tobot combiners that I have so far, is that they actually, instead of painting the windows and lights and things like that, it's actually separate bits of molded plastic that are added in, and it really, really works nicely. Like here you've got the clear for the headlights and the translucent red for the taillights, and it's a really nice effect, which is very, very cool, and I appreciate that level of detail. Plus, these things are like Tonka truck tough. These are durable toys, which is very, very cool. And looking at the more off-roader type thing here, same deal. Lots of nice details, lots of paint, or at least enough paint to get the job done. And then, of course, that really nice use of different colored plastics for things. It looks nice. It, you know, looks really good. The plastic, or the color for the bumper here is a little bit not on point with the matching, but it's not a huge problem. This I thought was kind of funny. A lot of the older Tobot toys apparently had this key gimmick where you would stick this key in and like twist it to like start the transformation. So they actually molded that little key spot in there, which is just kind of silly to me. And the only real issue I have with this vehicle mode is the baby blue, robin's egg blue, powder blue, whatever color you want to call it, blue bumper thing here, which just seems a little bit odd. I don't know why they decided to color it that. Maybe that's for the, I don't know if that's show accurate or what, but I don't know. It's just kind of meh. And then also, didn't quite color match the lights up here. Also, they don't really look like lights. But overall, nice little, not so little vehicle mode. And then we've got this thing, the center one, which is probably the most detailed out of the two, because it's also the biggest. And you've got, you know, the nice paint there, the clear headlights, which in this case, I think, because of the light plastic, don't work quite as well as they do on some of the other two vehicles, but still some nice painted detail in there. The painted bumper, they even painted the little vent things on the top of the hood. And silver along the top here. They did a really good job with the detail. And, you know, it's a car, so there's not a ton of detail that they needed to do, but they did it. And I also really appreciate how they got the translucent red for the tail lights here and here, which is really nice. And you also have the little trailer hitch there. And yeah, there are a couple of things that kind of stand out, like the molded in rear windshield wiper and front windshield wipers. Okay, it doesn't have front windshield wipers, but the rear one, not painted, but Really, the only thing that bothers me about this one is the fact that you've got this spot along the top here that should be this off-white color, and it's just not. I mean, it's not a huge detraction, it's just, you know, little gotta nitpick something, you know? And these vehicles are not very small. They're actually pretty big. Let's bring in Samus here, and you can see they're pretty sizable. And then they combine to make an even bigger thing. So, again, as with some of the other things I've started doing, I'm going to actually show the transformation for these because they're so simple, but I'm not going to combine them on camera because I'm going to have to adjust a bunch of stuff, so I'm just going to do the individual parts and then combine them off camera. But I'm going to get things started here, and the reason I want to combine these on camera is because I feel like everyone needs to hear the sound that these things make. They are so deliciously ratchety and clicky. So I'm going to start with the off-roader here. Pop this up. I just do that because you get better leverage when it's in car mode. And then pop this whole thing back. And you can either come from the top here or from the side here, but you pop that open, and there you go. And then you can just kind of push this down to swing out the leg, and that's tasty. And then this just, let me struggle to keep this on camera, but this closes back up, snaps back into place. And on the underside here, this flips out to become the foot. And then in here, you just flip this out, and then there's a little bit in here that you also flip out. That becomes the heel, and then this actually clips in there to lock that in place, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then last little bits, take this, fold it up, and these bits here will clip in on the inside of the leg. Then you just turn it, give it a click, and then flip this out. And that is one leg, and you kind of see they even have some nice molded details on the foot, like the exposed bits. Even on the back heel. Not bad. And then got some nice little details. I'm doing all this now because it'll be easier when he's not in combined mode. But yeah, lots of nice little details. These little painted bits here on the hip and sort of the midriff stomach section here. It's got some nice detail to him. So that down, and same deal with this one. It's a little bit different just because it's a smaller vehicle. So certain things are just a teensy bit different. And one thing that I have noticed with this guy, oh, and this is something that I wanted to point out too. It's kind of hard to see, but notice where this leg is right now in conjunction to the rest of the vehicle. Like, see this bit up top here? As you swing it out, it actually moves up, well, over. And now you can see that the gap is there. And that's actually really clever because it helps to kind of bring the legs in to, you know, work better with the robot mode, so it doesn't have like these off-center legs. Now, this one, for whatever reason, doesn't have the handy little flip-up thing, so I find it's easier to flip the heel out by coming from the inside. But do all that, flip that down, clip it in, close that up, and that's set up. Fold that in, and then we just make sure this is all set. And, you know, again, same thing with this guy. Some nice details that kind of mirror the details on the other foot, but nicely detailed. I think this is actually meant to almost look like the back of the car. I don't know. And now we have the big one. And this is really neat, which I like not just how this guy transforms, but what happens when you transform him. So you can see here, like this kind of opens up, and then if you look at the back, as you start to pull the arms down, it actually pushes that section forward and covers up the trailer hitch, as well as just kind of extending the front out, or the back out a little bit. Then flip up, and then pop these, and these just kind of tab over these lines here, these molded bits. Hold that down, and then this actually accordions up and goes flush with the shoulder, which is really nice. And then we just love the arm. And here, show this from the other side so you can see what happens here. You just pop it up, pop it up. There we go. And then pull that down, and that sits over top there. Just very, very nice, clean approach to things. I can't help but appreciate how they did this. And for the top here, what was the top of the car, this pops out, and just, I love how these sound. So nice and sturdy. And then this just accordions back and clips into the back, and then flip up the head. And there you can see the head's a little bit weird looking, but it's kind of grown on me. What's a little bit strange to me is how it's swept forward like that, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the transformation, because it has to be flush against there, otherwise it'll scrape against the ground when you're rolling the car. And there's actually some really nice details on the underside here that kind of make it look more robotic. And like some nice big chunky shoulders, and you know me and my shoulders. And I really, really like this, how the back of the car turns upside down and becomes the robot chest, and that little back symbol makes for a really kind of interesting looking robot mode chest. Anyway, those are all the individual components of Deltatron, and now we're going to get him combined up. Right, so Deltatron all combined up, and he is quite imposing, but before we completely finish off, gotta pull these bits off the trailer, and then the trailer is completely useless from this point on, and that's kind of my one real complaint about this set, is just this has no purpose once you take the gauntlets off. You can see the gauntlets have some really nice detail to them, some nice painted lines, nice molded details. Definitely hollow in the back, but what can you do? You know, there's not much to do about it at this point, but yeah, they're good-looking gauntlets. And it's good that they're there because as great as Deltatron looks this way, he actually looks a lot better with the gauntlets on. And this is going to be quite a reach, so bear with me here. Have to push him way back in order to get him on camera, but this just goes over. And there you go. And now we have Deltatron all combined up. Okay. Difficult to do when I have to reach around all this stuff. So this is very cool. I mean, the tiny fists didn't really do it for me, but with the gauntlets, he looks fantastic. And I really like how the color of the gauntlets actually tie into that pelvis area. Kind of helps, because like without the gauntlets, that section just kind of stands out a bit, because it's like that's the only spot on the robot where you get that particular shade of blue unless you add the gauntlets. So yeah, this looks great. Proportion-wise, the gauntlets, I think, are fantastic, and you get a little bit of finger articulation there. He's just very cool, very dense, very imposing. Some nice shin details there that come out, or I should say are revealed because they're at the bottom of the regular vehicles, but still. Very, very nice robot, and lots of fun to just transform back and forth. I love how sturdy this guy is. And his robot mode looks very, very cool. The only real gripe that I have with his robot mode is I feel like this little bit down here kind of sags a little bit too much for my taste. Seems a little bit like maybe he had a little accident and needs to change his pants. It just kind of, I don't know, it goes down too far for me. I don't know why they couldn't just make it a little bit up. But other than that, really, really cool. And just the combination is fun. The transformation is fun. And he's just this really neat looking robot. And he's actually fairly articulated too. Like, he's not a brick, but very, very neat. And it's funny, I didn't even realize how the off-white for the torso bit is actually noticeably different than the white that's for the thighs and the midsection and the hands on the gauntlets and stuff. But under the right lighting conditions, like right now, you can kind of see that it's actually slightly more tan up here and on the shoulders than elsewhere. Yeah. This guy is very cool. And he's not the oldest and not the newest Tobot combiner, but he is the first one that I got my hands on, which is why I'm doing the review of him first. And yeah, this thing is fantastic. And it is pretty big. He's actually, I'm bringing Samus here so you can kind of see. I think I bumped the camera, sorry. He's actually like a little bit taller than a Combiner Wars combiner with the upgrade parts from Perfect Effect, which actually makes them a little bit taller. So all things considered, Deltatron is probably about a head taller than a Combiner Wars combiner, which is impressive to me. But yeah, this guy is really, really cool, really easy to put together and transform, and just fun, and designed to be played with. He's designed to be durable. It's one of the things that I really started to enjoy about all of these Tobots, is just the fact that I can play with them. I don't have to be careful when I mess around with them. I can just transform them back and forth and they'll be fine. I can toss them in a bag and they'll be fine. This guy took a dive off a shelf. I'm not too worried about anything getting chipped off or broken. Possibly scratched, maybe, but I don't think much would break off on this guy if he if he took a tumble. So yeah, if you have, young ones who are interested in transforming robot toys, and you're, up for something that's a little bit more expensive than like typical Hasbro Takara stuff in terms of just, well, I guess it's not technically more expensive, but it's not It's not cheap for a kid's toy in the sense that, you got to import it from Korea, and, that costs money either in shipping or in a markup. But you get what you pay for. I mean, it's incredibly durable and just very fun to play with. So yeah, that has been my look at the Tobot Combiner Deltatron. There will be more of these because it was a pain in the butt to set all this up, so I'm going to try and get a whole bunch of them taken care of in one kind of straight shot because, yeah, I'm not really equipped for doing big figures. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.